Hey everybody, well we're just going to go over a couple of things about food today that we should all be playing games with our food. So this is called the Fat Switch or the Skinny Switch game, and I prefer to call it the Skinny Switch game. Try to say that 5 times really fast. But I wanted to introduce you first to my little zombie guy here, because this is pretty much what we've been going through life eating like a zombie. We just eat whatever we want and not actually mindfully think about what we're putting in our mouth and actually what it is doing in our body. But now that you guys are on the journey to permanent change, and when I mean permanent change, you've got to stop dieting, period. Dieting doesn't work. So you have to learn how to eat, and you have to learn how to eat what works for your body, all right? So let's talk about the fat switch. This guy right here, and then there's the skinny switch. And we got little Mr. Zombie right there. So the fat switch. What foods turn on the fat switch? A big fan of you understanding how food combinations work. If you want to turn on a fat switch, you eat something with sugar or glucose in it and fat. Goes directly to fat stores. Period. End of story. Do not pass go. You gain weight when you eat a sugar and a fat together. So that is a donut. That is a cookie. That is bread. Any kind of bread. That is pasta. That is a baked potato with butter on it. That is rice doused in some kind of a sauce, anything like that. So that guarantees that that will be stored as fat. End of story. It doesn't matter what kind of metabolism you have, that ends up getting stored as fat. Now, if we go on over to our skinny switch, this is a fun one. So if you want to turn on your skinny switch and actually get into the fat stores and burn fat, guess what? You have to eat fat. I know, goes against everything that we've been brainwashed to believe, but fat is ultimately the most perfect energy on the planet. Otherwise, you wouldn't store so much, right? I mean, the body's pretty darn intelligent. It's an amazing machine, and it stores fat. So if you eat fat, you will not store fat. So a good combination is fat and protein. Now that protein should not be coated in carbs. I don't know if you can read that there, but carbohydrates. So that wouldn't be like, chicken fingers loaded with panko breading. Or a carbohydrate, or something else. Let me see, because I just don't eat that stuff anymore. It'll come to me. But anything that has a protein and a carbohydrate and a fat, bad combination. Okay, so you want a fat and a protein if you want to turn on the skinny switch, which we all want to turn on the skinny switch. So these two are always a very good bet. Now, vegetables come under the carbohydrate category, but most vegetables are very high in fiber, and that fiber counteracts any glucose that's in there. So most vegetables are 100% okay, with the exception of a white potato. I wouldn't touch a white potato now if you paid me. Knowing what happens to white potatoes, no. Someday I'll tell you. Anyway, not for this little video here. But suffice it to say that most of your vegetables are loaded with fibrous carbohydrates, and those actually turn on the skinny switch. So vegetables, gee, aren't these all the healthy foods? Good fats, good proteins, and vegetables. Who knew? Those turn on the skinny switch. Skinny switch. Fat switch. We don't want to play this game. Let's play this game to win, right? We want to win the game. Don't be a zombie eater and just eat potato chips, which is lard in a bag. Don't be a zombie and eat a giant Costco-sized bag of Hershey's Kisses, which is also lard and a heart attack and diabetes in a bag. Don't be a zombie and drink regular sodas or energy drinks with sugar in them, because that is diabetes in a bottle. That's what those things are. So play the Skinny Switch game. We're gonna go over this a little bit more, but I want to keep these videos short. But just to give you an idea, fat switch, anything that's sugar and glucose turns to fat. Bad combination, okay? Anything that's just sugar turns to fat. You don't even have to combine it with anything. It just turns to fat, especially if it's over about 15 grams of sugar, which is only, guys, 3 teaspoons of sugar. Considering that I think a regular Coke has about 15 teaspoons of sugar in it. It's right around 10, 15, somewhere in there. Anyway, it'll turn to fat immediately. Don't do it. Skinny Switch. Good fat, good protein, vegetables. For sure, that will get you to the skinny switch side. Now, where does fruit fall in this fat place? Fruit is kind of an interesting little bugger because fruit is wonderful. It's sweet. The nice thing about fruit is that most fruits are highly fibrous. So whenever you pair a fiber and a sugar together, it ends up binding the sugar in the gut, and some of that sugar gets passed through where it doesn't get absorbed as easily. Unlike your processed sugars that flip the fat switch. Now, that being said, it also is a fructose, which is a form of a sugar. It does get processed in the liver, and it can be easily stored as fat. When you see bodybuilders who are on extreme cutting diets, where they're really getting shredded down to single-digit body fat, they will not touch a piece of fruit to save their lives. Now, that doesn't mean you can't touch a piece of fruit. You can, but be judicious about it. And we'll learn more about how to eat fruit to turn on your skinny switch, because, oh gee, just the other day I ate an entire thing of Costco cherries by myself, and I used to not like cherries, but it tasted like candy. It was so amazing. But here's a little trick. I had also gone in on a 5-mile run that day, and that's a trail run, by the way, not just on the road. That's up the mountain. And I had done some intermittent fasting for a couple of days. So I had like 0 glucose stores in my muscles. So when you kind of binge on a sugar, a fructose like that, it won't even go into the fat stores. It will be burned off immediately, and anything left over will just be stored as glucose in the muscles versus fat. So that's just a little tip if you want to have a treat day, a fun day, and eat a whole big thing of Costco cherries. Anyway, that's just one video. We'll talk more about the Skinny Switch game on other videos, but be sure you watch the coaching videos, because this is where you're going to learn how to become a skinny eater. Skinny eaters don't eat foods that turn the fat switch on, okay? All right, talk to you guys later. Have fun.